Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I'm going to do a video this morning of my latest journal. And I want to go ahead and put this out there real quick. I'm not going to get caught up on this. I'm going to try not to bring it up again. But the lighting is horrible. It is still very dark outside. And so I'm having to just use my overhead light and my lamp. And unfortunately, the way my desk is arranged, the overhead light is directly above my camera. So it creates shadows, but typically I open up all my blinds and it offsets that a little bit, but I can't do that this morning. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of shadows directly underhand. So I'm going to try not to put my hands over the book a whole lot. And I do apologize for the shadows. There's just not a lot of ways for me to get around that today. I have repositioned my camera to the other side of my desk, which is really throwing me off because I don't know why, it just is throwing me off. I've never filmed with it on that side before. But anyway, the shadows actually were better because it shifted the camera over. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's just get over it, and I apologize. So this latest book, it is, I love the idea, or I guess, well, the concept of doing like a concept journal. I love kind of visualizing a story behind something. I do that. Like when I go into an antique mall and I'm walking around looking at the different items, I'm probably the only weirdo that walks around doing that. But I literally just kind of try to imagine, you know, the story behind the item and that kind of thing. You know, like who may have had it, if it's, you know, a school teacher's book, and just the story and the history behind an item. I love that. So when I created this book, which is so fun to me to have a box of just stuff that you love and then put it all together and create something that I love to do. So yeah, this just started out as a box of stuff. And in my mind's eye, I kind of tried to go with I've named this one an Old World Winter, and I tried to go with the concept of this being kind of an old world book created during a time where, you know, you used items that you had just laying around your house or laying around your yard, and then it getting passed down through the generations, and people and family members just adding items to it as they received the book. So that's kind of the concept and story I went with on this journal. And it's for me, it was a very hard concept to do because I've said before, I love Christmas. I love fall because you know, first of all, I live in Georgia, so fall sometimes starts to cool down a little bit. And then it also is the anticipation of winter and, you know, Christmas and all that coming up. And but where I struggled with, or what I guess I was going for with the concept of doing just a winter journal, is because, as you know, there's still a lot of winter left after Christmas is over. So I wanted this to be a book that, you know, if someone wanted to sit it out through December, through Christmas, it works, but it can be left out through the winter, January, February. It's not a Christmas themed journal at all. I tried to put literally nothing Christmas in this journal. So I did struggle just a little bit with that. But I think I achieved it. I definitely went with a very, what I call a icy, wintry, like this to me looks like ice. I tried to go with the silver and light blues and golds and you know, kind of an icy look. So that leads into the cover of the journal. And I wanted to point out, I have not completely stitched this down yet, and the reason why is that I'm going to do that after this video is over. Right now I have it hanging from a little, let me raise it up a little bit. I have it hanging from a little wax thread there, and then down on the bottom I've done a little stitch across the snowflake there, and I'm going to add stitches over here to hold this in place. But the reason I have not done that yet is because I wanted to be able to flip it over and show you the back of it. And I don't know if the lighting is going to work or not, but you can see on the back, this is definitely engraved on. And I've said before, I don't like to mess with the integrity of an item. This is going to flop around while I flip the book around. But I wanted to be able to show that because this, to me, is the epitome of why I don't like to mess with the integrity of an item if I can at all avoid it. And the reason was because these are actually, this is from a collection. They're called Gorham Sterling Silver Snowflake ornaments. And I don't know much about them. I did try to research them a little bit. It looks like they went from like 1970s on up to like 2000. And I found this at an antique store here in Georgia. But you can find these on Etsy. I think they run around for this is 1973, the 1973 snowflake. And I do actually have the pouch that this comes in for storage, but I've put it inside of the book, so you'll see that in just a little bit. But anyway, you can, I think I found this one on Etsy. Not this one, I found this one at an antique mall, but I think you can find this 1973 one on Etsy for around $65. On eBay, people have them listed. I mean, I don't know. It's changed. It's taken me quite a while to make this journal, and I've tried to kind of research it along the way, but, you know, people put them up for bids and that kind of thing, and I haven't seen what they actually go for. I know people have them listed like in the, I think, $40 on up to $90 for this particular year, but that doesn't mean they get $90 for it. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of the fact that this can be, for some people, this can be like a collectible ornament. They, you know, may have the other ones and not have the 1973, and for whatever reason, I just did not want to glue this to the front, so I chose to stitch it on. And that way, if whoever gets the journal wants to, you know, remove this and put it in its pouch and put it away, they can. I had intended before I filmed this video to get a different brooch, and I didn't. You could, let me grab one. You could certainly replace that if you wanted to snip that off. Here's a pretty one. If you wanted to snip that snowflake off, let me move it so you can see what I'm talking about. You certainly could, and then you could attach a different brooch there. And it would, that one's not quite big enough in my opinion. But anyway, my point is, you know, you could remove this snowflake and put something else there if you chose to. So anyway, that kind of tells a little bit about the snowflake ornament on the front. And I just thought that was so beautiful and so wintry, and it's probably hard to tell on camera, but this is sterling silver, and it has a very dimensional, it almost looks like blown glass in person, in my opinion, but it's not. I mean, to me, it definitely in person almost looks like blown glass. So I chose to use that, and I did back it onto some kind of I call it my little quilty pieces, but I wanted it to have a snow feel. Wow, the shadows. Ugh. I said I wasn't going to bring that up. But I wanted it to have kind of a snow feel behind it, so that's kind of I guess a cottony snow kind of look is what I was going for. And then a bundle of twigs up here that are bound together with some kind of ropey twine. I did use the overall straps here, clasp I should say, and they are not a method of closure for the journal. I do love when someone does closures on a journal. I don't like to do them on this style of journal because I have so much stuff, you know, poking out from the side that I don't want, you know, straps coming across and hindering all the layers that are, you know, poking out. So I'll kind of show you how this is done in just a minute. But yeah, it's not an actual closure for the book. I just want to point that out. I did try to do it so that it looks like a continuation of the straps on the side, but it is not. And behind this cluster, I have a strip of this. To me, it looks like ice, or that's the look I was going for. And then different book covers. I have 2 different gold book covers. I have probably about 4 of these left. I had bought the gold books. I don't remember what the copyright is. It was, I think, early 1900s or mid 1900s maybe. but I don't remember. They were not winter themed books, but to me, with them being gold, I thought they would be perfect for Christmas and winter styles. And then, of course, different pieces of book spines. I love to do that. And then this is some of my stitching that Dee gave to me. My friend Dee did up some of her little pretty machine stitching on these pieces of fabric. And then just different layers sticking all out. Let me show you the different. I'm going to hold the snowflake on. I'm going to try to, because as I said, I haven't completely stitched it down yet. Because I wanted to be able to show you the back and how it's labeled on the back. But there's the spine. Let me turn it this way. You can see I layered the spine. The back of the book is just grungied up, and I used the blue tones and then grungied over it for hopefully a winter feel. And then the top of the book, very gator mouth, which I love. I've always, on my videos, I always say, to me, these are perfect table books, because you set this out on a coffee table and it just demands attention. To me, that's almost a sweatery feel. You'll see that when we're going through the book. I love that. And then hanging out of the centers on the little writing journal on the front, I tried to go with kind of a snowflake look, and then there's a little gold bell. So I called that my snowflake and bell. And then this is like an icicle in my eye. It's actually a glass or crystal, maybe, old chandelier crystal. So you'll be able to see that when I get to it in a minute. I just wanted you to see it from the outside. And then this is another little crystal bead off of a chandelier. So I called this ice and snowflake there. That was the look I was going for. And I think that's pretty much everything on the outside. So we'll go ahead and flip it open. So when you flip this open, that kind of tucks into there. Oh, stuff out of the way. Am I in frame? Okay, so on this first page, there is an old pocket watch. It's not functional. It's just meant to add an old character to the page and to the book. Here at the bottom is an old hanky that I've hand stitched. The stitching very much blends in with the hanky, which is kind of what I was going for, but it's a hand stitched hanky that hangs out so you can see it when the book is closed. And there's old buttons stitched here on the front of that with a rusty safety pin there. And then I just left one little spot open for this to tuck into. When you do it this way, it definitely adds a lot more thickness to the journal, because it's going up against that book. So if you don't want that extra thickness, this is just as pretty to hang here kind of in the side, and that kind of fits into this little space here. I don't know how well that makes sense on camera, but there's a little space here created from where this journal ends and the beginning of the signature here. So it definitely can hang like that, and it takes away a little bit of the thickness of the book. But I like the thickness. I like it to have a little bit of a gator mouth. This is cracked across the front crystal. Again, to me, that just shows character and age. I like it. And I like it tucked in there, but it doesn't have to be. I attached some strips of fabric, just all different, just for texture and personality. I attached that on with a brad that my friend Kathy has over in her shop. It's Rust Paper Scissors, and she uses these little flat back pearls and puts them onto these brads, and I love that. I just think, to me, that was like a little snowflake in this particular setting, and I love it. This is a paper clip, and to me that's, let's see if I can maneuver around my camera, sorry. To me that's a very wintry looking fabric attached to that paper clip. And then over here I've done the pencil pouch. Inside of the pencil pouch I did put a pencil, but I also stuck just some things that someone at some point may have found in their yard. I love this twig. Y'all know I'm weird about that kind of stuff. But it has little knot holes in it all over it, and I love this twig. I don't know why. Love it. Anyway, so I've stuck that down in there. This is pretty sure this is a blue jay's feather. You can see the blue when the light hits it just right. And given the fact that this is a wintry journal, I thought that the blue would look pretty, just kind of tucked in there as a piece of nature. And then this is a pencil. Over on this side, I've done the writing journal, and this is where I was telling you that the overall buckles, they come through here, and then they're stitched onto this cover with a burlap snowflake and some old buttons. And again, I was just going with that, you know, homemade look of something back in the old world settings somebody would have just added to their journal. So when you flip this open, inside of here is the writing portion of the book. I've mentioned this so many times in other videos, but for anyone that this is their first time watching a video of mine, I love to do writing sections and then art sections. I try to leave my art pages to where you can still doodle and draw little sketches. I was in a very artsy mode while I was creating this book. I get in those moods sometimes where I can't turn it off when it happens. It's a weird thing, but I call it my artsy mode. And when I get like that, I'm very into like poetry and sketching and painting and you know, doing artsy things. So I did somewhat of a sketch painting in this book, and I also got some done in got one completed in my other journal that I've shown before. Anyway, so yeah, I did put one in here just to kind of demonstrate how I like to use these books. If the person doesn't like that, they can always gesso over it and do their own thing on top of it, or even tear it out. I do these pages with a very torn edge so that they can be torn and whatever. But I wanted to demonstrate. Plus, I was just really in the mood while I was creating this to do that. So I did, and I've said before, I try to do what speaks to me when I'm working on a book. If it just, I don't know, part of the personality of the book. This is just a page out of a book that talks about winter. Snow sculptures the rough contours of the land in cold perfection. And I just tucked that there for just a little bit of inspiration, but there is a pocket coming down the side of this journal here. And then there are about 37 writing surfaces in this. And so that's counting fronts and backs of the pages. Like, obviously I didn't count this because you can't hardly really write on that, but I counted the back. And I didn't count these postcards that I slid in because I couldn't remember if some of them were written on the back and stuff. So I just, you know, it's roughly 37 writing surfaces. And it's just made up of different laces and materials, wallpaper, paper. These are out of I believe this is German, a German calendar. And they just had beautiful winter scenes on them. So I put one of these in the center of each signature. And I believe this little journal has 3 signatures, if memory serves correct. This was one of the initial parts of this book that I did, was this writing journal. And it, like I said, that's been a little bit ago because it's taken me a while to do this journal. This is a postcard with a wintry scene on it. It's not written on the back, and I don't believe it's very old. I think it's just beautiful, though, because it depicts a beautiful winter scene. And that's what I wanted for this book. Now, clipped onto this page is the little pouch, the storage pouch. Oh, that paper clip is tight. Let's see if I can just slide the whole thing off. There we go. So here's the little pouch that snowflake goes in, I should say. Boy, that clip is tight. So it's just the pouch that the snowflake stores in. And that does say the name of the company, which I probably was not pronouncing correctly. And I just kind of flapped it over this page and used this very tight, rusty paper clip to hold it on. So here's the center of the second signature of the little writing journal. This is some old, to me, this is like a dish towel kind of fabric. It's so, oh, I love it. This is very old and thin. I've just tucked some pages in. I love, again, I like the concept of this just being passed down through generations and different family members over the years, kind of shoving stuff into the book. And this was just another pretty winter page out of a winter. And spikes of ice like frozen tears cling to the stark black branches as the earth sleeps through the winter silence of winter. Through the white silence of winter. It also has like the hopes of spring on the back, and I like that. But beneath the, I can't see because of the shadows. Beneath the robes of snow beats the heart of spring. Just kind of tuck that in somewhere in here. This is the center of the third signature out of that, I think that's German calendar. And then I hung, like I said, I showed it from the outside. It's kind of a little snowflake look. Strings are caught up on it. And then there's a bell hanging out of the center of the second signature. So they hang out and peek out together. And back here is another postcard. And to me, that's just, oh, it's so pretty. I love to just visualize that kitchen, look at the different decor in the kitchen. I just love that. It's not old. It tells the story of a, I believe, let's say a 1823 William Connor house in the National Register of Historic Places. But anyway, I'm not even in frame. Wow, I'm doing great today, huh? The other side of that, and then on the back, I put this old crocheted trim, just kind of poking out the side there. And also that pokes out from the front, the top and bottom of this. You can see it from the front when the book is closed. So that's the way that little portion is. I've already talked about this front page. And there's wooden snowflakes that I have stained, and I've put those in a layering effect on the edges of the pages. Most of them I left open where you can tuck items, and I did try to tuck items in there. The reason I like to do that is so that, again, this can be removed and someone can sketch or paint on the paper. So I try to leave a lot of this as raw as possible so that you can just sew and paint. But I also try to add character to it for people who don't like to, you know, sketch or paint. They can just journal on it or leave it as is. I try to put enough artwork in it. And I say artwork when I'm referring to collages and whatnot. This is an old postcard. This one is old. I don't know the date on it. We might can see it. Oh, there it is. December 22nd, 1941. To the little boy I feel like needs some, well, I don't know. I can't read all of the writing, but again, I'm in horrible shadows from my angle. So hopefully whoever gets this journal will be able to read that. I put fabric coming down the center here and a little fabric tag up here on the top with blues on it. Again, another postcard that depicts a winter scene. And I've tucked that underneath the snowflake there, like that. And then in between the signatures here, I've tucked a little, I saw my friend Pam from Pandora's Journals do this. I'm obsessed with, especially one of her videos in particular, and she did this braided bookmark, is what I call it, and kind of tucked it into the book, and I love that. I cannot take credit for that. That's all Pam's doing, but I just think it's so cool. So I did that braid. Again, I was trying to make it look kind of homemade and what somebody would do just with what they had in their home. This is items that in my mind's eye, people have stuck into the book through the years. Just old photographs, old book page, and an old postcard. Not written on. A tree on here. with fabric coming down the center, and you can't probably see on camera, but there's like snowflakes on this fabric. So this is the painting, or the sketch slash painting that I did in the center of this signature. Now, this is where the crystal and snowflake are hanging from, or what I refer to them as, from the center of that signature. And I titled this A Blizzard's Beauty. And again, I try to sketch kind of a wintry looking scene with a blizzard. And that's what I was going for there. But more than anything, I was just trying to demonstrate how to use this journal. If you go through and put your own artwork on all of these pages, oh, what personality it would have. I love that. That's what I've been working on with my own journal for about almost a year now, I believe. Fabric coming down there. I did a collage over here, and this is a stick here with all different fabrics and material and lace behind that, and just a blank piece of paper here tucked in there. A piece of crochet here. And then here I have a little crystal. That's the one I showed you from the outside of the book, and I just attached it to some gold twine and tucked it in there like so. And then I've placed a burlap bag in here. This is the front of the net signature, and I love the way that looks, but I did tuck a burlap bag in here, and I just put things in here that I just visualized over the years being collected. This is an old photograph. Sally sent me, I should say, Sally sent me this. She sent me something else in here, and I should have mentioned her name. I'm trying to remember now. And I'm being distracted because I have someone walking up to my door. Excuse me one moment. I'm so sorry for the interruption. That was my sister. It just caught me off guard. I guess I've lost track of time while filming the video, which is another point I should make. I meant to go much faster. But anyway, I just could see someone coming up, and I knew it was going to get my little dog stirred up that's sitting beside me. We've been doing morning walks, and for several weeks now, we try to beat the heat by doing them early morning. And yeah, she got here a little bit earlier than normal this morning. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and quickly finish up. I love the way this round doily kind of did around this signature here. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but to me it just kind of frames out this signature. And so yeah, I believe I was about here. This is a poem that I wrote, and again, it can be covered or even torn out. Little sketches of some nature, some plants on the back. And then the poem, I called it The Warmth of Winter's Love. It says, the warmth of winter's love is hidden in the snow. It's the sun shining on an icicle that reflects a rainbow's glow. It's not meant to find easily, but rest assured that it is there. It's an angel's kiss upon your face, the wind blowing through your hair. It's as unique as every snowflake sent down from him above. So lift your face up to the sky and embrace the warmth of winter's love. And that's that. I had to use Angel's Kiss because one of the things that happened in my life while I was making this journal is I met this wonderful lady. I always like to refer to people as a sweet soul. She does a foundation for terminally ill children. And I was just so blessed to have met her. And anyway, her foundation is Angel's Kiss. And I believe that's the name of it. Anyway, I met her while I was working on this journal. And she's just been heavy on my heart and in my prayers. And anyway, so I just wanted to somehow incorporate for myself a little memory of this time period of my life. And here on the side of this page, I did some crystals, and they're very like a beigey tone, almost like a coffee dyed tone, but yet they're sparkly and just give that pretty effect of ice. I love that. A little bit of the ticking coming down this page. And then this is that, to me, this just reminds me of a sweater, wow, I can't talk, a sweater. And it was just a piece of trim, so I've attached it to some fabric. And then on the other side is where that page is. So, you know, it, again, anything can be taken out, removed, added to the journal. If that's the whole purpose of these books, is to create your own, to, you know, make your own creation. The very back page here, I definitely wanted this on there. It says original. And down on the bottom, it just has my little emblem, the tree. I always call it the family tree or the tree of life, either way you want to look at it. But it just says Scribbles in Time, and it has my name. And then this is the back of the book. I'm going to go do my morning walk, and then I will get back, and this will be listed in my Etsy shop, and I am going to stitch on this snowflake a little bit better so that it won't flop around so much in case the person who receives the journal wants to keep the snowflake on there. But again, it's just going to be stitched if somebody wants to snip it off. Did I measure? Did I measure? I'm not sure if I measured. The overall, let's see, can I turn it this way? If you're counting all this stuff poking out, we're probably around 13 inches. My ruler doesn't go that long, but that's 12 inches there with the icicle piece showing. I think it's be around 13. But if you're only measuring the hard portion of the book, we're at about, I'd say 8.5. The width of the book, again, if you're measuring the stuff that's poking out, we're at about 8 inches. Oh, I do want to add, so I told you that these are wooden snowflakes, and they are poking out. I feel like over time, these are going to start to chip off. I love that. I don't know, I love that. So, you know, I wanted to say that ahead of time because that could be something that happens with time. I thought about it before I attached them on. I started to scooch them over. But I like them to be tuck spots, and I like the concept, like, you know, if they do start to chip. I added one to my journal, and it has not chipped yet, but I went in and kind of took off some of the edges and stained them up because I wanted that look. There's one on the top. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there. To me, all of that just adds personality to a book. Anyway, did I ever say the thickness of the book? I don't think I did. So yeah, just the hard section of the book, we're at about 7 inches with all of these little snowflakes poking out. I think I already said we're at somewhere around about 8 inches. The thickness of the book is thick. We're at about, I'd say 3 3/4, maybe 4 inches with it gator mouthed. I think that's everything, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, would you please give me a thumbs up, and I would love to hear from you if you would leave a comment. I do have a friend, acquaintance. She is in the journaling world, and I'm not saying names because I don't think it should be about that, but she is having surgery Tuesday. So for anyone out there that is a prayerful person, please say prayers for her. Lift her up in prayers. I know that she's scared, and I know that it's just not a good time for her right now, and she needs prayers. So I wanted to put that out there. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a blessed